Jett Howard committed to Michigan in October of 2021 as a 4-star recruit and the 8th-ranked shooting guard nationally per Rivals.com. Howard sprouted up from 6'5" in high school to 6'8" when he arrived at Michigan, and also bulked up from 185 pounds to 215. Howard has enjoyed a nice season thus far for an up-and-down Michigan team, shooting the ball well while starting every game to this point of the season. With Howard's size and ability to shoot the ball as a wing, he has the potential to fill the 3-and-D wing role for a team in the NBA very nicely. This potential has Howard being looked at as a potential late lottery pick or one of the first picks just outside of the lottery. The biggest strength for Howard is his ability as a shooter. Howard is a shooter in just about every sense of the word. Through 25 games, Howard is hoisting an eye-popping 7.2 3-point attempts per game. This includes 5 games where he put up 10 or more 3-point tries. But it's hard to blame him for taking so many threes, given how efficient he is at making them. Howard isn't a total sniper from beyond the arc, but he's shooting a very healthy 38% so far this season, and has done that while taking some pretty difficult shots. Howard has shown the ability to make deep threes, step-back threes, and create just a little space to shoot over smaller defenders. Howard might not be quite the shooter that Grady Dick is, but he has shown the ability to be a dynamic shooter at the college level and should bring some valuable shooting to an NBA team. Another strength for Howard is defensive effort. While Howard isn't an outstanding athlete by NBA standards, he works very hard on the defensive end. Howard fights over and through screens on the defensive end to pick up blocks and bother shots. He also is active and engaged defensively and has some potential to switch across multiple positions. Howard is currently listed at 6'8" with solid length and good size at 215 pounds. He doesn't quite have the foot speed to be able to consistently hang with the quickest players out on the perimeter, but he can use his size and effort to make life difficult for wings and hold his own in the post. Howard doesn't look like a player that will be competing for all defensive teams, but with his physical tools, effort, and IQ that he plays with on the defensive end, he looks like he could be a valuable team defender. One weakness for Howard is finishing at the rim. Howard has good size and length for a wing and can handle the ball well, but finishing around the rim is still a skill that evades him at this time. Howard prefers to settle for floaters when he can, but when he does get looks around the rim, he struggles to finish consistently. Howard isn't an outstanding athlete, so he doesn't have much of an ability to finish over guys and gets his shot blocked around the basket more than you would expect for somebody at his size. I think part of this weakness might be that Howard grew a bit later than other prospects. As mentioned earlier, Howard has grown 3 inches from when he was being recruited to when he started college and has packed on about 30 pounds. Howard likely isn't used to being able to absorb some contact and finish around the basket, so he settles for floaters and avoids using his size to his advantage. As Howard gets more used to his body, the hope would be that he becomes more comfortable finishing around the basket. Another weakness for Howard is playmaking. This weakness isn't so much related to Howard being a ball stopper as it is that he just isn't very dynamic when it comes to setting up his teammates. When Howard gets the ball in the flow of the offense, he's either moving the line along with a pass or looking to shoot right away. When Howard does put on the floor and drive, he's mostly just attacking closeouts to set up shorter jumpers or floaters. He's not typically beating his man, collapsing the defense, and finding open teammates. Howard won't likely be asked to do much playmaking at the NBA level, but his lack of playmaking chops does put a ceiling on his potential. This first clip shows off Howard's ability as a shooter. The play begins with Howard receiving the pass near the break. Howard pump fakes to get his defender a bit off balance, takes one dribble inside the arc into a step-back fadeaway 3 with the clock winding down. He hits nothing but the bottom of the net. Howard's ability to shoot the ball well in a variety of situations could make him a valuable player to have at the NBA level. This next clip displays some of Howard's high effort on the defensive end of the floor. The play begins with Howard defending in the corner. The action from the offense brings him up near the top of the arc as his man receives the ball. Howard then gets picked as his man curls over the screen into a shot. But rather than letting himself get screened out of the play, Howard fights over the top and manages to block the shot and force a shot clock violation. Effort like this on the defensive end at the NBA level will endear Howard to coaches and teammates alike. This final clip shows how Howard can struggle with finishing around the rim. The play starts with Howard getting downhill and splitting the defenders at the top of the arc. Iowa doesn't want to foul, so they are basically conceding the layup to Howard. But Howard seems to rush into his attempt and fails to finish at the basket. Despite his size, Howard prefers to rely more on finesse around the basket. As he gets used to his body, hopefully he becomes more comfortable with finishing strong around the rim. Jett Howard's big claim to fame when he arrived at Michigan was that he was the son of Juwan Howard, a one-time All-Star and NBA champion that played in the NBA for 19 seasons. But while at Michigan, Howard has begun to make a name for himself and has crept up draft boards. Howard doesn't look like a player that will ever be more than a role guy, but he's the type of player a lot of NBA teams are looking for. He's big, can shoot the ball really well, and play good team defense. He looks like he could be a steady contributor for an NBA team. I think the best situation for Howard would be to go to a team where he isn't expected to be a major scoring threat. He'd be best suited going to a team where he can play off of other guys on offense and fill in cracks on defense. My NBA comp for Jett Howard is a bigger Alec Burks. Burks was a late lottery pick for the Utah Jazz all the way back in 2011 and is now in his 12th NBA season. He has found his footing in the NBA by being a knockdown three-point shooter and contributing solid team defense on the other end. This to me seems like a reasonable expectation for how Jett Howard's career could go.